Hello, everyone. There's something I really want to talk about, which is one of the biggest problems that we have in Nigeria is selfishness among citizens. So, people, as long as something is okay for them, that's all. They really don't care how it affects another person. And I decided to just do this video. I talk about this thing a lot of time, but this particular video was actually triggered me watching someone who unfortunately, one of these containers that fall on cars in Lagos, his brother was involved. He actually passed there. He did, of course. You like life. That's one of the things I always say about life. That look, life is so transient. We are so powerless as human beings. We are so inconsequential. That's why when I see people carrying their shoulders and feeling built, do you know who I am? Like, who are you? We are nothing. Even when something happens, we don't even know, except if we are told. He passed there, he saw the trailer, that he came down of his out of his car, he went to film it, and he said something for me that struck me, was like, oh, as a normal Nigerian, that he went to film it to be able to share it with people. I'm like, that's not normal behavior. How is it that the first thing when you see a tragedy is for you to bring out your phone and begin to take pictures or video? I always find that thing, when I see people, for me, the first thing I'm thinking about, that could have been me, that could have been my loved one in there, that kind of a thing. And then for you to think, oh, it's normal, it was like, oh, it's not normal. And then he would go home. I think hours later, his brother's wife called him and later found out that apparently his immediate younger brother was actually in the vehicle. And then you could feel him tearing up and crying. I'm like, yeah, I understand that death, no matter how we look at it, the moment is someone that is very close to you, is always different. But how are you seeing an accident where a container fell on people, and all you think about is just to carry your phone and be able to film it, to be able to share it with people? How? You didn't think for once that it could have been you? So this attitude is why we don't bother about issue. That's why you see people come out and say that, oh, I never knew Nigeria would happen to me. And I'm thinking, so the people that Nigeria has been happening to, do you think you are better than those people? For me, the moment I see somebody say, oh, I never knew Nigeria would happen to me, Nigeria, I just tune off. Whatever message you are going to give, I just tune off, because I don't want to. I feel somebody is grieving, in the midst of grieving. I don't want to say something that will be so insensitive, and I'm so angry at people's selfishness and lack of care. I just tune off. That's the reason why, even with the atrocious things that are happening today, people just feel they can never happen to them. Oh, it's not my portion. Whose portion is it? Oh, it's not your portion. Whose portion is it? The last person it happened to also said it wasn't his portion. Or somebody will say that, oh, in Jesus' name, it can't happen to me. Or the person will say, oh, inshallah, it can't happen to me, and that makes it okay. Eh? So you think the people it has been happening to, that day they are not praying, that day they don't have prayers, and that's why people will see atrocities going on and we move on. For example, there are people that have been kidnapped for how many months? Towards the beginning of this year or mid this year, when they went for their NYC, they are still in captivity. People are doing NYC, are moving on. People are sending their children on the way. People are traveling on the way, because people just feel that, oh, it cannot be them. It cannot happen to them. It can only happen to other people. It cannot be their portion. So that's selfishness. That's the selfishness I'm talking about. That's selfishness that makes people think that they are invisible, that it cannot happen to them, it can only happen to other people, and then if they get certain things, it's okay. That's why you see somebody. I had someone who was like, oh, as far as it's concerned, Buhari is the best, whatever, because his children got job. And I'm like, okay, what about the millions of others that haven't gotten jobs? Do you think, or is it that just because your children have gotten job, it's okay? For me, that's one thing that I'm never able to be, I'm never able to sort of like, how do I put it now, deal with it or take it like that, like, oh, it's something if I have access to something. No, I'm always looking at it. What about the next person? How accessible is it to him, that next person? Until it's accessible to everyone, it's not accessible to me. The fact that I have, and that's why for me, I hate using all of those like privilege, whatever, one position. I don't. If you know me, that's one thing I don't. I tell people, I don't ask people for favor. They're like, oh, you some people say to me, oh, but you are popular, and if you ask them, I say, no, sorry, I don't ask. I want somebody to be able to have access to it without me having to ask. If I have to ask, then that means there's no access. I want to. Sometimes people will come and say, "Hey, but you, why did you go there? But you could have called us to come and." I said, "No, I don't want to call you. It's not a government something or what. It's a public thing. I should be able to walk in there and have access to it. Not the one that, oh, it's only when I know somebody that I can have access to it, or I can pull my connection. You see this thing called connection, eh? I hate it. I hate it, eh? I remember as a young, as a young Nigerian looking for admission, ABU Zaria, I will never forget 1994. Ha! Yeah, 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 yeah. 1994, what my eyes saw. I will see that every day I was looking at for admission for months. Every day I'll go and stand in front of offices. People with lesser results than mine will walk in there. They come with their parents, their uncles, or whatever. They walk me. I was there. I don't know anybody. Sometimes they will drive me away. I was persistent. In short, people were shocked when I finally got my admission. That's why for me, I'm a very tenacious person. No, I don't give up. No matter people will tell me leave me, I will follow that thing to the end. Now you go tire for my face. Not be me go tire to dey pursue my dreams. That's the kind of attitude I've always had. That I'm digressing a little bit, but it's very much needed. That whole thing, I was there. First list came out, second list, third list, V6 list, Gamgee list, whatever, all sorts of lists came out. For real, me every day I will go my result and everything. Ha! And then, oh Lord have mercy, my HMB A levels, ABU Zaria was my choice. When I did the O level, BUK was my choice. Meanwhile, in the meantime, JAM had sent me admission letter for BUK level 1, but unfortunately when JAM was sending results to BUK, they omitted my name, so my name was not with BUK, but JAM had given me. So I have admission letter, Bayero University Kano level 1. That was 1994, level 1 medicine. Then I was pursuing my A levels. It was this thing that I put, ABU Zaria, and I was pursuing it. At the end of the day, I still got that admission. That's why there's this guy. Apologies, I call him guy. This this the way we talk now. There's this elder, the academic secretary, AU Misal. I will never forget that man. Finally, that man, when he came, he looked at me, a child of nobody. He gave me, put up this thing, approved my admission. When the admission came out, they gave me level 1. I went back. I said, no, I'm qualified for level 2. I did IGMB A levels. I can't be doing level 1. That day, it was on a Friday. I will never forget. He came and he brought out a plain sheet. He signed at the bottom and he said to me, go and do your application letter for change of this thing, admission, the level. Imagine, Lord have mercy. This one. That's why I went to that means that letter, and I must not make mistake. Oh. That's why I now wrote. I gave they now changed me. I got my level. Everybody was shocked. Because people told me to give, or you can't get this thing, the admission is over. I said, look, I qualify for this thing. I'm supposed to get this thing. Why am I not getting it? And so for me, it's right from that. I hate anything that has to do with leg. Anything that it have to, there's a privilege attached to it for me to have it, or I must know somebody. I don't do it. I would rather go in there. A lot of people, they get surprised when they see maybe I'm on the queue. They, oh no, come. And I say no. I'll follow the queue. Me, I have big mouth and I want to use it. But you see, people will be looking at issues of governance and everything based on how accessible it is to them. So if they can get it, they feel that, oh, okay, everything is okay. No, everything is not okay until every one of us can have it. As long as there are people that are hungry, we all are hungry. As long as there are people that are homeless, we all are homeless. As long as there are people who cannot travel on the roads, in short, all of us Kokoma can't even travel on the road. And so this selfishness, this selfish idea when Nigerians have that, oh, as long as it's okay for them, they pray for themselves, and that's all it is. We need to stop it. We need to care. When something happens to another person, let us take it as if it has happened to us. This issue of, it used to be one of my fears that container will fall on you. Actually, they used to make a jest of me that before. Like when I say, like, I'm always afraid when I'm driving a container. My husband will say, they use something to plug them down. Right now, containers have been falling on people in Lagos. Yet the government has not really made drastic decision to ensure that it does not happen. Continuously, we keep making this tragedy will happen. We will not learn from it. Other people, because people feel that people will be doing, oh, thank God I survived. Like there was a time that there was a riot in Kaduna, and then people were sending message or a happy survivor. I found that thing very annoying. I found it so very insensitive. I'm like, okay, what about the people that died? And that's why you always hear me when I started saying, I say to people, I say, look, yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors, and tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. The question I always ask, who is next? Those who have been killed before will not be killed again. The next to be killed are those of us that are alive. Let's keep being selfish and not solve the problems that are all facing.